is the TourBox Lite, a console that helped me and will definitely help you to improve your workflow by not just giving you options for jam-packing all of the most used functions in this small little thing, but also an extremely new smooth drawing experience. Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Rosmo, and today I'll introduce to you guys the TourBox Lite. Don't mistake it from the last one I showed you guys, which was the TourBox Elite. And I hear you guys from the last video. Why do you need this thing? It's just a controller. It's gonna take up space for nothing. Why do you need this thing? You don't! This little tiny powerhouse of a tool isn't a need. It is a want. If you want help with making your art more efficient, this is a good option. Well, it is for me. Let me explain. So right now I have two TourBoxes, right? But what's the difference? Now I'm here to tell you what's up with this little thing and to show you guys how this can change my workflow for the better. And I hope I can help you find out which model suits you the most by the end of this video. Look, it's definitely more on the cheaper side than all the other TourBox, which cost around under $150. Praise be to my almost empty wallet. The other two are in the 3-digit area where I start to cry tears of blood just by looking at the price. So I'm not gonna show it to you guys for your sake and mine. You can use the TourBox for video and photo editing, drawing, and even live 2D rigging. They also have presets for shortcuts for softwares like Photoshop, Live 2D Cubism, DaVinci, Clip Studio Paint, and many others. But you know what? TourBox is a lot more than just shortcuts. That's what makes them competitive and worth using. Like here in Photoshop, you can see all these integrations they developed for the program and covers a lot of features that were not supported by shortcuts in the first place. You can simply choose these built-in functions and set it to one of your buttons, then boom, it's good to go. And with how compact this thing is, it's easier to key in your short keys than to Control-T for the transform tool, or Shift-G for gradients, or stretch your fingers on your keyboard just to hit that Control-Shift-I to invert the select tool, which is something I always use when I make my videos. Look at this thing and tell me how many buttons you see. This is not a trick question. 7? Guess what? They have a feature to combine buttons. Now instead of 7 shortcuts, you could do 50 plus shortcuts on this bad boy. And I understand many of y'all might think that the layout looks a bit unnatural, but all the button placements actually make a huge sense once you start using it for a while. This way I can keep drawing without shifting my eyes back and forth on the keyboard every so often, keeping me focused on my artwork or on whatever it is I'm working on. I'm easily distracted, okay? So once my eyes are off that screen, the sky is the limit to what I suddenly remember, and it'll pry me out of the zone when I'm making my videos. Okay, so back to when some of you thought TourBox is just another controller, right? Well, I get where you're coming from, but let me share something with you. It's true that other devices can handle individual functions just fine, but when it comes to stringing them together seamlessly, TourBox takes the cake. It's like a smooth jazz performance, every note effortlessly leading into the next, switching between eraser, undo, rotate, zoom, flip, brush, adjust, Audacity, you name it. TourBox has got it covered. It's so intuitive that sometimes I forget I'm even using it. You can connect the TourBox using the Type-C cord that they have in the box. I find this better for my setup because I have a lot of devices connected to Bluetooth already, and everything just mixes and matches with one another, so having a TourBox that is just one plug away to connect it is really convenient on my end. Also, I don't have to worry about the batteries. You can learn the default shortcuts they have in the console, or you can learn the presets that match the software that you're using. Luckily, I was able to share my presets on Medibang, and you can find it on their website. So if you're using the same, there you go. Just download that preset. As for what the preset is, let me show you. So for the knob, I use the zoom in and zoom out. The knob press is to fit to window, scroll for flip canvas, scroll press for grid, dial rotate, dial press is to reset the rotate. I don't know how to explain all those buttons, but I assure you, it's a lot more easier when I'm trying to flip the canvas or do whatever I need for the canvas. Now for the buttons. The side button right here is the save, since it's easier to spam it, making it easier to not forget to save, especially when you got fidgety hands like me who just keeps pressing it for no reason. The top button here is the redo, and it's easier since you can comfortably switch from undo to redo with where the undo button is. The short is undo, the tail is E. And since E is the tail, I found it easier to put the brush button on the right button. And then the up button is the fill tool, down is eyedropper, and then left button is the wand tool. Those are the 4 buttons that I always use. So they're the first, before we go to the combo buttons. So there are plenty of combos that you can set for yourself, but for me, I like using the top button plus the 4 buttons, and I find them more comfortable on my hand. So the top plus up is gradient. I made it easier to remember since up is already the fill tool. The top plus down is inverse. The top plus left tool is deselect, since almost always, once I press the wand button, I'm gonna end up pressing the deselect. And then the top plus right is lasso. Top up and top right is something I recommend if you're like me and uses lasso tool and gradient for coloring skin. That's for the TourBox Elite, but you can almost always apply that to the TourBox Lite with the main ones like the brush or change the tour button with save. You can play around with the combos that you'd find comfortable, but those were my suggestions. And I know what you're saying, but Rosmo, don't you already have an undo button in your pen? Yes, but I broke it. You understand, right, guys? We will never not use the undo button, which is why the one in my pen is already sunken, and I need an undo button on this thing, okay? For the tour button, the default in the console is flip canvas, but since I know that that is a necessary shortcut and also one that I am absolutely frightened of, we'll just change it to the save button. I'm scared of the flip canvas. Honestly, I know it may be daunting to find yourself with so many options for buttons and getting used to it because I felt the same. But once you get the hang of using it while you work, it makes things a lot more easier and more comfortable on your wrist too. Just one hand on the pen and the other on the TourBox and you're good to go. As you guys know, I make my videos with a lot of frames involved, so having the TourBox Lite on my setup makes things really simpler, especially since I got used to having it around. I'm also someone who fidgets a lot with their fingers, so having something to click on with the satisfying click sound really helps. I mean, listen to this. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Since I've used two of their models now, if you ask me which one I like better, I will say it's the Elite because of the wireless feature as well as the clicky side button. I really like that one. That's this button specifically. I like this. Though I find it troublesome for it to have batteries, so I kinda like having the option to have the light model here to avoid the hassle of the batteries. Right, so you guys should have noticed I've been using the Elite model this whole time when showing you guys how to use it. And that is because almost everything I've done in the Elite model, you can also do in the TourBox Lite. I'm more used to using the Elite since that's the one I've been using ever since, so I thought it'd be good to show it along with the Lite model in hopes it would make it easier for you guys to choose which you'd like for yourself. The Lite model is still really powerful, even though the price of this model is under $100, much cheaper compared to the other models. I will say that it's by far the best editing console I've used under the $100 range because you still get to use all of the software features. So definitely go check out the TourBox Lite if you are looking for something to help with your existing workflow, but no need for too many buttons. But if you have a higher budget and will use this in many different work scenarios, then I do recommend you to check out their other models as well. It's really good, to be honest. Alrighty, links are in the description for you guys. You can visit their website to see all the products that they have to offer. I even saw like a little variation with aesthetically pastel colors. I want to check that out, honestly. That's all I have to show for this video. If any of what I said caught your interest, let me know. Comments are always open for your opinions, questions, and violent reactions. Speak now or forever hold your peace, my dear viewers. So yeah, a shout out and thank yous to my patrons: Patrick Christopherson, Orda Star, Kanto 116, Lone Wolf, Levi Nicholson, Inachis, Kanjur, Aniyushi, Gungelian, Joker's Hat, F-Ignite, Mila, Jacob K, Scar Aidenham, Christian V, Kieran Cross, and The Land of Dreams.